Welcome to the Friday reading in the 5th week of Lent from Our Radiant Redeemer by Tim Chester. And we start with Mark chapter 9, verse 11, which says, "Why do the teachers of the law say that Elijah must come first?" I guess that Peter, James and John were pretty excited as they walked down the mountain. They had positive proof that Jesus was the Messiah. But he had now told them not to tell anyone, which might have put a bit of a dampener on things. How were they going to keep quiet about the glory they had just witnessed? Surely the victory of God was just a few days away, a few weeks at most. But there was a problem. The timeline didn't quite stack up as they expected. So, as they come down the mountain, the disciples ask Jesus a question. Why do the teachers of the law say that Elijah must come first? Mark 9 verse 11. They've just seen something that looks pretty much like the coming of God's kingdom. But people said Elijah would come first as a forerunner of God's Messiah. So how can they have witnessed God's kingdom if Elijah hasn't yet returned? Jesus replies, "To be sure, Elijah does come first and restores all things. Why then it is written that the Son of Man must suffer much and be rejected. But I tell you, Elijah has come, and they have done to him everything they wished, just as it is written about him." But that's verses 12 to 13 of Mark 9. In effect, Jesus is saying that Elijah has returned in the form of John the Baptist, Mark 9 verse 12. Indeed, Mark's presentation of John the Baptist in Mark chapter 1 verses 2 to 8 is clearly intended to echo descriptions of Elijah. Both of them can be recognized because each has a garment of hair and a leather belt around his waist, 2 Kings 1 verse 8, Mark 1 verse 6. Matthew makes this connection to John the Baptist explicit by adding, in Matthew 17 verse 13, "Then the disciples understood that he was talking to them about John the Baptist." So we're not waiting for something to happen before God's king comes. The forerunner has already done his job. The time is now. The time has come. The Messiah is here, talking with the disciples as they walk down the mountain. But what Jesus really wants the disciples to focus on is this: the Messiah must suffer. Why then is it written, he adds, that the Son of Man must suffer much and be rejected? But I tell you, Elijah has come, and they have done to him everything they wished, just as it is written about him. That's verses 12 to 13 of Mark 9. Elijah had returned in the person of John the Baptist, and what had happened to him? Herod had killed him. Mark chapter 6 verses 14 to 29. He had his head presented to him on a plate because his wife had asked him, "What is your greatest wish?" or something like that. And the fate of the forerunner is appointed to the fate of the king. What's coming next in the timeline is not victory, but the weakness, folly, and shame of the cross. Peter, James, and John see a great vision of the glory of Jesus. Peter wants to stay gazing at it forever, in Mark chapter 9, verses 5 and 6. But God will ultimately be revealed on the cross. It's in the weakness of the cross that we see the power of God. It's in the folly of the cross that we see the wisdom of God. It's in the shame of the cross that we see the glory of God. And that's exactly what happens. The centurion confesses that Jesus is the Son of God as he stood there in front of Jesus, hanging on the cross, and saw how he died. Mark chapter 15, verse 39, and I'm getting visions of John Wayne at the end of the greatest story ever told. What must have been one of his silliest roles. But, well, he just wasn't up to playing a centurion with his stiff, broad American accent. Surely this man was the Son of God. That's not even my best interpretation. Copy of his voice. But we all know John Wayne could play a cowboy and up to a point a soldier, but nothing else, not really. So him as a centurion must it have been a form of desperacy on the part of the producer and director of that movie? I don't know. Was it one of John's favourite roles? I've no idea. So, Peter wants to see the glory of Jesus on the mountain forever, but it cannot be. The other disciples don't see the transfiguration at all, and neither do Mark's readers, and neither do we. But we can see God revealed in the message of the cross. Today, we can't give people visions of glory, but we can reveal God to them as we proclaim the message of the cross. And our meditation today is from the first letter of Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 18, and verses 22 to 25. For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God. Jews demand signs, and Greeks look for wisdom. But we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to Jews and foolishness to Gentiles. But to those whom God has called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ the power of God and the wisdom of God. For the foolishness of God is wiser than human wisdom, and the weakness of God is stronger than human strength. And for the final reading of the 5th week of Lent, Saturday, there is no Bible verse to start us off. But we do look at Mark chapter 9, verses 14 to 29. And the meditation is part of a hymn from Joseph Robinson. "'Tis good, Lord, to be here, thy glory fills the night, thy face and garments like the sun shine with unborrowed light. 'Tis good, Lord, to be here, yet we may not remain, but since ye bid us leave the mount, come with us to the plain." So, we are now on the approach to Holy Week, where we will be looking at radiant and transformed. So, looking at Holy Week, we have a meditation from Pope Leo the Great. On Tuesday, we have a meditation from Gregory of Palamas. On Wednesday, I heard the voice of Jesus say, "Come unto me and rest," by Horatius Bonar. From the last verse, "I am this dark world's light. Look unto me, thy morn shall rise, and all thy days be bright." Thursday, Maundy Thursday. The meditation is just one sentence by Michael Ramsey. On Good Friday, Donald MacLeod. On Holy Saturday, Matthew 5:14 and 16. And yes, there is a reading for Easter Sunday. The meditation ends with Numbers 6, verses 24 to 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. So, it's a little foretaste of what hopefully is coming next week. Hopefully, when I say hopefully, I hopefully in the name of the Lord. If the Lord spares me, which I'm pretty sure he's fast running out of patience from me, that's for sure. But I apologise for drinking. This is only blackcurrant, trust me. So I look forward to bringing you the rest of those words, and on a completely different subject. I am at the moment reading through a book of classic ghost stories, which is getting more views, as expected, getting more views than the videos here. But many of you who have looked at my channel will notice that I have done the first 6 chapters of Goodnight, Mr. Tom. I'm wondering, should I finish that book? Because I have said that I would like to read The Railway Children. I would like to read The War of the Worlds as well. But that depends. It depends on how things go. So, I hope to be finishing the book, Our Radiant Redeemer. I didn't think it would get many views. I mean, some videos haven't had any views at all, but some of the videos have had 5 or 6. So, anyhow, as always, may the Lord bless you and keep you. Amen.